everyone, welcome back to another video. It's your girl Meg, and in today's video we are talking about flying with children. I made a video about 3 years ago and a lot has happened since then. I've had another baby, there's been a global pandemic and all, just a few things, but that is one of my most popular videos that I've made, and I wanted to create a follow-up video for you guys that has even more helpful tips that we've learned throughout the years, especially after having a third child and traveling even more since then. If you are traveling this summer, this year, this fall, this winter at all with your kids and you're flying, this video is for you. So if you're into that, make sure you stick around, but before you do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future uploads, and make sure to follow along on social media where I do post a lot of content. We are always traveling with my kids and we're always sharing my travels, and I have a lot of that on my social media as well. So let's get started with this. Let's just go. Just as a refresher, I think it's really important that if you haven't watched that video that I've made a couple years ago, it's really important that you watch that one first because it's packed full of information. But I've got a couple additional tips that I want to share with you today that we've learned throughout having 3 kids and having a little toddler along with us nowadays. There's some really helpful stuff that I think you guys are gonna like. My kids are 10, 7, and 2, and we have been traveling with our kids since our 10-year-old was 2 months old. We've gone on multiple trips in airplanes with them per year. So my oldest 2 have a lot of airplane rides under their belt, and my youngest 2-year-old, he's had 4 or 5 flights. So there's just a lot of family travel. I'm not one of those bloggers or creators that's like, I've been once with my 1 kid, so I'm making a video because I'm the expert. No, this is like a video almost 11 years in the making, along with the other video that I made about 3 years ago. There's just so much that we've learned throughout the years traveling with our kids because we don't stop. We don't let kids get in the way of what we want to do, and we also prioritize travel as something that we really love as a family, and we budget for it because it's something we love to do. So let's get on to these tips. I've got my phone with some notes on here for you guys. I have timestamps below if you want to skip around this video if something that I'm talking about doesn't really apply to you. So let's go on with the first tip, which is going to be geared towards our parents of young toddlers. Kids that are between 2 to 4 years old or so, maybe a little under 2 years old. This might apply to you. And the biggest tip that we've learned with flying with our kids that has been super helpful for us is to bring a car seat on the airplane, strap them in it, and they can't go anywhere. Not just any old car seat, because that seems just like a lot of work, right? To just like lug this car seat around the airport, super heavy, plus children. Seems like a nightmare, right? Well, I found a couple car seats, and I will link them below for you, that are really lightweight that we've been using. One is, I believe, under 12 pounds and one is under 10 pounds, so they're very lightweight, and we put them inside this really nice fabric backpack that you can just strap on the back of your shoulders and go through the airport with it. This backpack is very light as well, and as soon as you get on the plane, you can put the car seat into the seat, the plane seat, and then stuff that backpack down, and it'll fit under the seat or in the overhead bin compartment. You might get a couple of looks from the flight attendants. They're like, what is that big thing on your back and is not gonna fit in the overhead? You just quickly explain to them, oh, this is a car seat for our 2-year-old or whatever. This backpack is gonna stuff right under the seat. We have never had an issue with that. The only thing we've been told, I think on multiple airlines that we've flown, is that the car seat needs to be in a window seat. You might wanna check with your airline, but the car seat needs to sit in a window seat. I don't know why, but that's what they've told us. If you're doing an airline where you've got to select your seats, make sure you're selecting a window seat for that car seat. This is a game changer, especially for toddlers who hate to be are very fidgety, who just aren't really good with being told to sit still, which is a lot of toddlers, let's be real. Having a lightweight car seat has been a game changer for our 2-year-old son. He is very fidgety, but something about being in a car seat, I think with a lot of kids, is that they're just used to that idea of being strapped in, and so they're more still and they don't really try to fidget their way out of it. I mean, that obviously will happen sometimes, but I think it's been just a really nice way to travel with our 2-year-old. That's not to say that he doesn't cry or he doesn't whine, because that certainly happens, but it is a great way to kind of keep them contained. They don't try to fidget or run in the aisles or things like that. It's game changing. Just try it and thank me later. yeah, if you're bringing a stroller on board, you do have to gate check that. You go up to the gate and you just say, hey, I need to get a gate check ticket for this stroller. They put a little ticket on the stroller. When you board the plane, you go down on the jet bridge, you collapse it and leave it there, and then it's there for you when you get off the plane. So we do that. We do put him in a stroller. We put the backpack on, or my husband carries the backpack. I kind of do the stroller and the other kids. And we have this system down where my husband's putting this car seat in the plane on the plane seat. I am behind him with the toddler. We get him in, we good. All right, so just try that and thank me later. My second tip for you today is to really utilize family-friendly areas in the airport, because there are some that you may not be aware of. I'm sure you've seen like family bathrooms, which are really great and helpful, especially if you need to do diaper changes and then you have another kid that's got to use the bathroom. You got to take everybody at the same time. It's the best thing to do. Also, why are there not more changing tables in men's restrooms? Like, I don't know, but I digress. So utilize obviously the family bathrooms, but there's also nursing mothers rooms, not those little like pods. There are those which are very helpful. I've actually looked in those before and they seem pretty good. And there are nursing mother rooms. Sometimes those can be found near bathrooms. That's not in every airport. My best piece of advice there is just to Google the airport and nursing mother room and see what you can find there if it's in the terminal that you'll be in. The other thing is, did you know a lot of airports now have play areas? And that's a really amazing thing for younger children, toddlers to elementary aged kids. Even my two older kids like play on the playgrounds. And those are so helpful. If you get through security and you're a little early before you have to board, the play area is just the best place to kind of let the kids run around, like expel their energy before they got to sit down and be on a plane for a long time. But I know that isn't the case for every airport and every terminal that you're going to be in. So my best advice with that too is just to Google the airport and see if there's a play area and what terminal it's in. And it'll tell you exactly where it's at. So like you could Google IAH play area and find one. Hobby Airport play area, Boston Logan, just you'll find one. Those are really helpful. If by chance that you don't have a play area in the airport that you are flying out of, find a little like spot in the terminal where there's not very many people hanging around and let your kids literally run around in circles. Be fools. Nobody cares. The last time we flew home, we did this, or we do this often. We try to sit away from the gate and let them just like run around. And this is the best way for the kids to run out their energy and kind of just get all the wiggles out. Even if they're older, they do that. Like my 10-year-old and 7-year-old were running around in the airport. Like it's just something that like I think is a really good idea for them to get the energy out before they're sitting down for so long. Family areas in the airport are your friends. Letting the kids get their energy out before boarding is always a great idea. This third tip that I have for you is all about family boarding when you actually physically board the airplane. There's a couple of things to know. I've briefly mentioned about getting a gate check for your stroller, so you're going to want to do that. There's also different family boarding policies on different airlines. So if you are flying Southwest Airlines, and you know how with Southwest you get an A, B, or C boarding pass and a number, and you kind of just board in order and then it's open seating. With Southwest, there is a family boarding section of their boarding, which is after the A group. So if you don't happen to get an A group boarding pass, just wait till after that. And then I think if you have kids under a certain age, you're able to use family boarding and get on the airplane. With Southwest, it's best to try to get on the airplane as soon as you can. So if you don't get an A boarding pass, then you want to do family boarding. So my philosophy changes if I have an assigned seat. So if I'm flying United, American, JetBlue, all the others where you choose a seat before you board and you have everything situated, obviously you're paying for your seating. I think that's a big thing, is like make sure that you have had your seat selected so you're actually sitting near one another and you're not having to ask people to move. That's super important when you're flying as a family. I know some airlines where it's like, assign my seat wherever. That's just not cool as a family to get on an airplane and expect somebody who has paid a certain amount of money to switch seats with you. That's just not good flying etiquette. So frankly, you just make sure that everybody's seats are selected before you get on that plane and that you're sitting next to one another. Bottom line, that's a non-negotiable for us. And I think that's just common courtesy when you're flying. Now, when you're flying one of those airlines, make sure that you actually wait to board into the very last second, unless you need overhead bin space. We try to check as many bags as we can when we were flying with our children because that's just too much to wrangle between us, the car seat, the stroller, and 3 kids. If I had additional rolling bags and carry-ons, it's just too much. We usually have backpacks, kids, the stroller, and the car seat backpack. So we don't really need overhead bin space, and as a result, we wait to the very last second to board the airplane. That gives you the opportunity to let your kids run around longer. I also hate the idea of getting on the airplane with my kids and waiting nearly 30, 45 minutes to take off. Maybe not that long, probably about 30 minutes. And they're already like asking for all the snacks. They're asking for the drinks. Where is my headphones? Like, it's already a mess. The time that I could just like minimize that, the better. So we like to wait till the very last second to board. Just get on, even if they call your boarding group. I don't go with my boarding group. We just wait. We just hang back until the last one is called, and then we go, because you get on the plane, you get in your seats, you put your stuff under the seats, and you get out of there. Okay? That's one of my big tips for family boarding. But again, if you do need boarding, like overhead bin space, you might want to board earlier. Some airline policies include pre-boarding. For example, United lets families with kids 2 and under pre-board, so before boarding even starts. If that's something that you want, you have a lot of luggage that you got to get in the overhead bin space, that might be something I would do. But since I don't, I wait to the very end. Okay, my last 2 tips include just kind of like screen time and letting go of any sort of expectations. Screen time is obviously going to be a must on an airplane. Do not try to be a hero. Do not try to be like mom of the year, because you're literally just trying to survive and get your kids from point A to point B. And if you're flying a domestic flight, because we're mostly talking about domestic flights here, you're just going for a few hours. You know, at most, if you're going coast to coast, there's 6 hours, so that can be long, but you're mostly going like 3-4 hours. 2, 3, 4 hours somewhere. And the name of the game is survival, and survival includes screen time. So it's a must. There's no need to pack all the games, all the activities. You do not have to be the cruise director of your children on the airplane, okay? Let the device do that for you. If your kids do respond really well to activities, obviously bring that, but I would advise against like little pieces like Legos or crayons and things like that, because what's gonna happen? The kid's gonna like fling the tray table and they're gonna go everywhere and fly under the seat, and you're never gonna find them again. So things that are like more handheld are your best friend for that, or your device. You're gonna wanna make sure that you download all of the movies and shows and games onto the kids' devices, and they can use them without Wi-Fi. So if they're not connected, they can use it. Plain Wi-Fis have been better and better nowadays, where you can actually use their Wi-Fi and watch different movies and stuff that they have. But I don't like to rely on that, because sometimes it can be spotty. I've been on flights where none of the Wi-Fi's ever worked, and you're out of luck unless you have your own stuff. So we always make sure that things are downloaded onto kids' devices. They have headphones, they're not disturbing anybody, and they're good to go. And we also give them a ton of snacks, tons of snacks. Pack a ton of snacks, buy water once you get past security, and just feed them and set them in front of a screen to entertain them for as long as you possibly can. The very last tip for you is to just throw any sort of schedule out of the window. If you are trying to make a plan that you're gonna think your kid's gonna do this and then they're gonna do this, just throw that out the window. Planes throw kids off, they throw us off. Traveling is hard on us, and just have realistic expectations and have low expectations. If you're choosing a flight because you think it's right in your kid's nap time and you think, oh, they're gonna nap during this time, I guarantee you they will not nap. They won't. Mark my words. You're like, oh, I'm gonna buy this ticket, they're gonna nap during the flight. You spoke it aloud, they will be up and crying the whole time. No, but for real, schedules do not exist on airplanes. It's a time vacuum. So if they nap, great, that's amazing. But if they don't, you know what? It's okay. We're on vacation, we're traveling, we're all tired, we're all cranky. We all don't want to sit in a seat for that long. It is what it is. So make sure that you have things to keep them kind of as quiet as you can possibly make them, like the screens and the snacks for as long as you possibly can. I know that kids get fussy and cry on planes. It's just gonna happen, and don't feel like you're the worst parent ever if that happens. Most people are not jerks. Usually it's the boomers that are the big jerks on planes. I'm sorry. The people in my last video are mostly boomers that are saying that kids shouldn't even be flying. And I'm like, I hate to break it to you, but kids exist in this world, and they will be traveling with their parents. And if your kid cries, it's not the end of the world. You know what? Later on, you're older, your kids are older, and maybe somebody else's kid is crying, and you could, provide comfort for them, or like, hey, can I help you? Let's just be nice, okay? Be nice to yourself. Throw those schedules out the window, throw expectations out the window, because you're a great parent and you're giving your kid the experience of travel that they're gonna cherish later. They may not appreciate it now, or they may not remember it, but you are gonna remember it and cherish all of those memories when your kids are not little anymore. Okay, we're getting sentimental. All right, so that's it for today's video. I know I've rambled, and I know my last video was very long as well, but I really hope that you watch that, and I will have everything linked in the description as far as the last video. I'll have this video's blog post. I have all sorts of stuff, and I will link the car seats and the backpacks. Everything's linked below, so you can easily find what you're looking for and get all the best tips. Let me know in the comments where you guys are traveling if you found this video helpful. Let's just have fun this year, and let's be easy on ourselves. So happy traveling with your kids. I'll see you all in my next video.